over 200 years, Japan slept in isolated stillness. The Tokugawa clan ruled with absolute authority, maintaining a rigid, closed society where peace felt like a permanent law of nature. But in 1867, that isolation is broken. Modern Western warships gather in the harbor like iron leviathans, bringing gunpowder and steel and the undeniable reality of a rapidly industrializing globe. At the same time, rival factions from the southern domains begin marching their own armies toward the capital. The era of the sword is ending, caught between foreign guns and domestic rebellion. Tokugawa Yoshinobu holds the title of shogun, the ultimate military dictator. Yet that authority loses its weight when the earth itself shifts and the global order turns against the state. The sky over Kyoto grows thick with the ash of burning estates. Inside the heavily guarded paper walls of Nijo Castle, a suffocating silence takes hold. Yoshinobu sits alone in his chambers. He is trapped in a calculation, weighing the survival of his people against the pride of his ancestors. His council offers no clear solutions. His generals demand a scorched earth campaign to fight to the last man. His political advisors beg for immediate, unconditional surrender to the encroaching forces. Facing paths to ruin on all sides, the shogun turns his back on statecraft. He makes a decision born of desperate faith, seeking an audience with the kitsune, the divine, magical fox messengers of the Inari mountain. When mortal logic provides no escape from destruction, a cornered ruler looks beyond the boundaries of human reason for an answer. The climb begins in the freezing dead of night. Yoshinobu wears no armor or weapons. He orders his loyal samurai retinue to stay behind, shutting every symbol of his worldly status to walk the mountain path alone. With every step upward, the temperature drops. He passes under thousands of tightly packed torii gates, their vermilion wood glowing like fresh blood in the pale moonlight. The sounds of the anxious, dying city below quickly fade away, swallowed by the heavy silence of an ancient cedar forest. Shadows flicker at the edges of his vision. White foxes with eyes like polished obsidian watch his steady ascent from atop moss-covered stone shrines. Stripped of his bodyguards and his military might, the man who commands the entire Japanese archipelago is reduced to a fragile mortal, kneeling in the dirt to ask a favor of the mountain. He reaches the upper peaks, where the boundary between worlds is thin. The air grows still, and a voice echoes directly inside his mind, a chorus of 100 whispering voices speaking in unison. Yoshinobu presses his forehead to the frozen stone. He does not ask for military victory, acknowledging that his era is over. Instead, he asks for the survival of millions of citizens. He begs for a bloodless dawn. The spirits agree to calm the fires of war and grant a peaceful surrender. But supernatural bargains are never paid in gold. They demand his legacy as payment. The voices lay out the conditions. Yoshinobu will fade into obscurity. His name will shatter to dust, and he will live out his days quietly, watching a rival power rule the land he gave everything to protect. To save the nation, the shogun must personally dismantle his own empire and accept his total erasure from the center of history. Yoshinobu walks back down the mountain and executes an immediate resignation, handing his authority directly back to the Japanese emperor. Because he yielded before a single shot was fired on the capital, the city of Edo is spared from artillery fire. The bloodless dawn he requested becomes a reality. But the cost is extracted as promised. A westernized regime takes control of the government, dressing in foreign uniforms and rapidly industrializing the nation. Modern textbooks record this transition as a political maneuver by a pragmatic leader. But the old families of Kyoto still whisper a different truth, that Edo was saved by a divine contract. Historical records preserve the treaties and the troop movements, leaving the quiet, personal terms of the mountain bargain to the shadows of the forest. History often prioritizes the clash of standing armies and the cold arithmetic of industrialization when explaining how an era ends. Yet Yoshinobu's choice reveals a different mechanism for survival. Ensuring the future sometimes requires the willing surrender of the power and identity that once defined a life. The Tokugawa shogunate gave up its control, its military pride, and its place at the center of the world, fulfilling every detail of the mountain's price. Somewhere on the mist-covered paths of Inari, the foxes are still keeping their end of the bargain. Yoshinobu closed his own story, ensuring that even as his name turned to dust, his people lived to tell another.